Diddy
Playing in
raping bitches.
progress.
Let's get into it. I'm just playing.
Banned
How
in the
many people can I offend
USA.
today?
Welcome to Metaphor, bitch. It's a gaming community. It's a podcast. The theme of this podcast is banned in the USA. We will not be around long because you bitches is sensitive. We gonna say whatever the fuck we want to say. So buckle up.
We're here for a good time. We're not here for a long time.
Not here for a long time. Sabius, he's gonna have us, in court. Mr.Fife is gonna have us in jail, and Karen is gonna have us in a fucking graveyard.
The Cobra's gonna have us fucking what?
Any one of them motherfuckers.
No, he's gonna have us like taboo. It'd be like the name who shall not be spoken or some shit in fucking
Damn.
Harry Potter or something. Like he who has no name should not be spoken.
Man, fuck him. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. That's one of my favorite sayings. Fuck them.
That's my goal though. I hope someday, especially in the Call of Duty community, they go, that's a name that cannot be spoken here.
Uh-huh. I mean, we did our fucking job because we tired of y'all little sensitive asses. We gonna say what we want to say. We not gonna drop certain bombs, but after that, we saying what the fuck we want to say. Fuck y'all.
The
Well,
Codfather.
the Godfather. What was I about to say? Don't be like them dudes. Was they Fresh and Fit or whatever? I think they are the one that had the clan, the outfit, and they was running around talking about monkeys, monkey this, monkey that. Like, don't
I
do
didn't
that
see
shit.
that one.
Yeah,
That's
I
hilarious.
think that was the one they got demonetized, and that pretty much made them go to like Rumble or some shit.
Call of Duty already gave me a ban now.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, they gave me a ban because it's not even really a derogatory term, but I called someone a mook.
They was like close enough.
Yeah, it's like good. Close enough.
Ragnar got suspended for saying ginger.
Really?
Yep. And I was like, oh, it must have been close enough. Then he just after they did that, he just went ballistic.
yeah.
He went ballistic. He said all the other shit that you're not supposed to say after that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he gonna be suspended forever, I think.
Just a whole new account. Just start from scratch.
Him and Dank went pretty crazy on that shit. I'd be like, God damn, man, y'all ain't never coming off suspension.
The problem is people waited too long to and they still not really standing up like they need to if they want to protect free speech.
Right.
But that should have happened way back when they was who was when they first started restricting people's free speech because it was hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everybody should be like, "No, fuck you."
Yeah.
Nope, fuck you.
That's
now it's gotten to the point where you can't say ginger.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
I don't even know the connotation with ginger. Like, why is that?
I think it's just redhead.
Yeah.
It's not even derogatory though.
It's not.
That's the thing.
They banned Mr.Fife and for his name, and don't your name mean like a flute or some shit?
Yep.
Mr.
Oh yeah, the flute. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Can you hear Mr.Fife?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I was looking up the meaning of ginger.
Okay.
I know it's the foodstuffs and it means redhead. Those are the only two meanings I know of.
Well,
we can't hear you, Mr.Fife.
Is he saying something?
He was saying something. Yeah, but we let it. It's kind of breaking up.
Yeah.
I was doing this yesterday too.
Oh yeah, you sound clear now.
All right. To be a ginger means to have naturally red hair.
That's what I thought. Like, so where's the band?
I think it rhymes with The N-word with the ER.
Ginger.
The problem, like if I said you got curly hair and they said he's using descriptors and they banned me, it's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
you can't describe people by non-offensive things about them.
We complained until we gave our own rights away, you know?
Yeah.
I got banned for saying nigga. So, and it was instant too. I mean, like 4 or 5 seconds after I said it, it came up on my screen. Yeah, so it is what it is, man. I hope they don't do that bullshit on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, they will for sure.
Oh, I'm gonna be pissed like a fucking dragon if they do that shit.
Yeah, it's coming.
You're just gonna have to put your content
coming.
somewhere like Rumble or some, or the YouTube equivalent, or some app that actually believes in freedom. Because if you remember, I was saying that shit way back, even when people were saying stuff like Shapiro. Like, I don't even really like a lot of what he says, but I'm like, he has the right to say what he wants. You know, he has the right to his beliefs. I don't really like what he's saying, but he's articulate and he has a right to say how he feels and what he thinks.
Right. Yeah. I was telling the guys from the gaming community side, I'm like, well, I guess whoever at Activision must have watched that Dave Chappelle special when he like, I can't say the F word, but I can say nigga. Activision was like, say less. Straight up. Because you can say that now.
Yep. You can't say nigga either. Whether you identify that way or not, you still can't say it.
It's all bad. It's all good though.
Yeah.
Other than that, what's going on?
I'm just trying to think of how to abuse that now. I'm like, if Ginger can get you banned, if anybody describes anybody in any way, you should be able to get people banned for it.
The tall black guy. Damn.
They're saying I'm bad at the game. It hurt my feelings. You should ban them. So you can only support people. You can't tear anybody down. I bet you could get that. I bet you could get that to pass. I bet you.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Where we at. I would.
That makes the game not worth playing. It's like, man, you're bad at this.
They probably just demonetize you, so you can't make any money off of it.
You said they banned him for saying ginger, though.
Yeah. Well, chat ban for a week or something like that.
Oh.
Mr.Fife, what you got to say? You look like you want to say something.
He has red hair. Ban him. Ban him.
Something. I can't hear him.
Yeah, your mic's out again.
Mute or something. Fife.
He'll get it together.
My guess is he's got an open or a short in his cable. What we call it for.
Or he's just saying so much stuff that the AI.
One second. I'm connecting another headset at this point.
Oh. I heard that loud and clear.
That motherfucker, he got some shit over there on the computer.
I thought the algorithms had stopped him. Like, yeah, we're going to stop him before he even starts saying something. We already got him on file.
It's too late now, man. We here. I didn't even know tomorrow was Thanksgiving until late today.
Yeah. This year's almost up. It's almost 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I got some plans for this year coming up. Make some moves.
What's up?
Testing 1, 2, Mr.Fife. It's on.
It's still working.
In process.
It ain't nothing but negative bullshit been going on this week, man. I don't know if I want to. It ain't nothing but sexual harassment and abuse. I'm like, who the fuck want to talk about this shit all day?
Yeah, I kind of turned off on some of the ongoings now, or at least the last like week or so. So I'm just tired of hearing all this stuff right now.
Man,
Taking a break.
Just say all black men are violent and get it over with. Like that's where y'all going with it anyway.
I mean, they say
They
that.
already
I
said that.
was gonna say they say that anyway.
Shit.
I don't even bother defending myself no more. Like, think what you want. I don't even care. Think what you want to feel, how you want to feel.
I'm not gonna lie, I am having like compassion fatigue, bro. For real.
How about now?
There you go.
You heard that, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So,
Much better. Your military headset sound much better.
All right.
still say y'all should go Steel Series. Best headset in the game.
I have my Corsair one I'm using now, but I was using my Astros. That's what I use the game with, but
Which version of the Astro you use?
the A20s.
Oh yeah, time for an update.
Eh, I'm used to the
Hey.
way they sound for COD.
I'm gonna say they work until they don't.
Speaking of COD, what do you guys think about COD? What do you think about Modern Warfare 3?
It was lazily done. It just feels like a $70 DLC, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
I've barely played the multiplayer because I am garbage. But I'm actually pretty good at zombies, and I really enjoy zombies. I think they could have done a couple of things differently, but overall, I like it.
Yeah, I really only got Modern Warfare 3 because of the new zombie. So that's the only thing I've really been playing. I haven't played the other modes because I frankly just wasn't interested.
How do you like zombies?
Oh, that's my go-to. As briefly playing some of the early Call of Duties with the zombies mode, I was pretty much trash. But this one, I like the open world kind of or open map and DMZ type of gameplay. So fine with me.
How about you, Colby?
Starting off, I'm gonna start off saying it like how Mr.Fife said it. It feels like I paid $104 or something like that because I got the Vote Edition DLC. It feels like a expensive DLC. The thing I do like about it is the shooting is way more smoother. It's way more smoother. And the zombies DMZ is kind of laid back. It's like I feel like it's for people who don't want to be sweated all fucking day, who actually just want to get a game in. You know what I mean? But other than that, I'm like, is this Modern Warfare 3? I feel like they just put it out like, let's get this big ass bag of money from everybody, and then we'll work on it as we go along. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man, I could go on a whole rant, but I don't think you guys even want to hear it.
go ahead. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's pod.
All right. First of all, we'll go with they took out weapon tuning, which they put in the last game, and they said some revolutionary new thing they had for gunplay with was weapon tuning. You can make your gun the way you want it. They took that away. Not the end of the world, but why the fuck did you introduce it in the first place? Then we'll move to zombies. Honestly, zombies is cool for people who like DMZ style play, but for someone who doesn't like me, who's a multiplayer guy, doesn't want to deal with having to play it up and loot and shit like that. Fuck that. Give me normal zombies as an option as well. Couldn't do that right. Then we're gonna go on to the maps. All right, this is a brand new fucking game. Some people spend $70. Some people spend $150. Some in between. Some people pre-ordered this thing and sat and waited for this junk of a DLC for over 6 months. And you know what we got out of it? We got a game that had maps from fucking 2013 in there. All of them are maps from 2013. You have three original fucking maps that are new to the game. Oh, and because you realize that nobody wants to play these janky, shitty old maps from a decade ago, oh, but now you can play the maps from the old game. But what's the fucking point? Why didn't you just add on those maps to the old game? The guns, the guns are ass. What's the fuck? It's not even fair. If I was a new player playing this fucking game, I get to start out using these pea shooting ass piece of shit weapons, and everybody else that had the last game has all their guns transfer over. So now you're playing against people who have fucking LMGs with explosive bullets ripping towards you. How the fuck does that work? The only good thing they fucking did is bring back map voting, and that's the only thing they did well. Everything else is a fucking joke, a big DLC, and a waste of my fucking money. I hope they fucking burn in hell. All of them that work in that studio, those pieces of fucking garbage. I can design a better game, and don't even know how to design a fucking game.
Fife wins.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
flawless
that's
victory.
Mr.
Fatality.
You know, I hadn't even thought about like they could have put in like regular zombies for people who like regular zombies.
Yeah.
That like out of everything you said, I think I felt that the most. That and obviously they could have just added more maps to the existing game and it would have been just a DLC. Like,
Yeah.
But they do that every year. That's not
it's so much shit going on. I didn't even stop to appreciate the fact that map voting was on. I'm like, oh, they do got map voting now.
I mean, don't get me wrong. People are gonna love playing Rust. People want to play Terminal. The classic OG MW2 maps from like back in the day, I can appreciate those. But then you have other maps that are fucking cancer. Like not Embassy. Embassy is a great map. I shouldn't talk down on that one. But Estate. All Estate is a fucking hill with a building. How is that fun to play on? It wasn't fun then. It ain't fun now.
They gave you voting so you can vote to never play it.
It's true. But why have it as an option?
No, I'm just joking. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Seems about right.
This point with the game, I'm playing on the mode where I play on the game, the maps from last game.
Like I like zombies, but I could see why. Like if you didn't really care for DMZ, that version of zombies wouldn't be as good. So I could see why you wouldn't like it. Like I said, like this is the perfect zombies for me. It's not like super high stress all the time. I just think it feels a little flat. They made a lot of the missions and stuff, like for the story mode of zombies, super convoluted. So you got to jump through a bunch of extra hoops to like try to accomplish the story. Like the first few make sense. It's like go do this thing, and you go do the thing, and then it's like okay, now get ice ammo, go into the high level area and kill this one specific monster. But if your gun actually can kill the monsters, then you won't be able to succeed because you'll instantly kill it. So you got to go in there with a shitty gun with ice ammo to slowly freeze. It's like really, and this is just like all of them are like that. All of them, like once you get to like the second act of the first story, it's like they're all super convoluted. It's like so to force me to keep playing this mode, you just made it where it's hard to go through the story. And I'm pretty sure when you go through the story, you don't really get much of anything for all that effort.
And it's a lot of bugs in that game too. Like
hell yeah.
I'm uploading a video later, bro. I was fully kitted up, had everything, and got stuck in a fucking window.
Damn.
And I couldn't kill myself because I had flopper, so I couldn't use a grenade. Ragnar apologized to me and jumped out the fucking window. I felt like I was in a movie. He's like, "I'm sorry, bro." It just left me, and then the smoke covered me. I was pissed the fuck off, bro.
I was telling Savius about a game I played where I had like a large backpack, a 3-plate. I think that's the only time I had a 3-plate in there because I can never get one. But we had went all the way into like the third area and like we were
the level
kitted out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went to Xville, the helicopter just never came. We went to like 3 different Xvilles and the helicopter never came. So we all just died because there was no way to leave. I was like, what kind of bullshit is this? So yeah, they definitely got some glitches in there.
And not to mention that I think about it, the perk system is fucking awful now.
Round 2, fight.
Why didn't you leave it the way it was? And then to get to do the weapon grind, last game was really just tedious and annoying to do. This game, now you gotta do daily challenges to get camos. Suck my left nut and call me Philly. What the fuck is that?
What the fuck?
Y'all just made me I'm like, you know what? I might just say fuck Call of Duty. I'm going
Like,
back to Remnant 2. Fuck off
but
bullshit.
the
Call of
first
Duty
40
is-
hours in this game has me flabbergasted.
Well, like I don't like the zombies is fun. It's just like I said, I've lost all interest in the story.
I
All
mean,
the
I
extra
lost
steps, I'm like,
interest.
you can keep it. I don't care. All I get is another ensure weapon slot. I'm like, I can play just fine without it. I don't
I,
need it.
I agree with you guys. It feels like an expensive DLC. Like they could make Call of Duty, the zombies for Call of Duty is not like the main thing of Call of Duty. It should be like, you know, just the extra mode or something. But I mean, I lost interest in Call of Duty back with like Advanced Warfare. So after Advanced Warfare, I was pretty much like, yeah, this gonna be the same thing every year. They're just gonna make
Bro,
worse. And
imagine
worse.
having a reputation that and popularity that precedes you in such a way where you could have a fucking product that don't even exist. Everybody gives you the money for it, and then you build on it as everybody give you the money. It's like printing money out of fucking thin air.
Yeah, that's why they come out with one every year.
You know, to sum up how I feel is the best way I can describe it. It's like if I went to the King Cobra's house and he's like, Mr.Fife, you want a beer? I'm like, hell yeah, I want a fucking beer. I'm American. And he gives me a beer out of the fucking cupboard. I wipe the dust off the top, crack it, and it's fucking flat and warm. It's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
It's like this could have been great, but
Right.
instead you give it to me like this.
I heard somebody use that example, a similar example to critique a record, album, and they was like asking him, how did you like it? And he was like, it's like getting a cold Pepsi out the fridge, cracking it open, and drinking it, and there's milk in there. And he said, now this milk is not bad, but you just wasn't expecting that. I was like, that's the nicest way of saying that album is shit.
I didn't need a great Call of Duty game. I needed an okay one. And it wasn't even that.
Yeah. Usually when you get a good Call of Duty game, it brings everybody out. Like everybody's on at the same time. People you haven't talked to in a while are on. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. It hasn't been like that in a long time.
So when was the last good Call of Duty game?
Black Ops 4. I'm personally a Black Ops player. Okay, the Black Ops bring out everybody. Like I always say, Call of Duties are like Jordans, right? And all of this other shit, Advanced Warfare, and those are like Jumpman under the Jordan brand, and Black Ops is the retros. Like, Black Ops is the shit that everybody be waiting on, but they started doing this battle royale shit like they fucking Fortnite and getting a lot of engagement into the game, like, in that way. But the biggest thing is they won't get these fucking cheaters under control. It's like, why even play this shit and grind this shit if somebody can fucking just download a fucking cheat and slap everybody in the mouth? Me and Dank was playing earlier. Some dude killed the whole fucking lobby like 20 times in a row. The whole feed was just full of our name, like no bullshit. And I got mad at Dank. I'm like, how long we gonna fucking sit here until you figure out we need to leave? Like,
Yeah, well, I probably left. I was like, this is ridiculous.
bro, he was
going
fucking.
on.
He
I
was
just
standing
left.
in one spot, and all of our shit was just. I'm no exaggerating. I'm talking like literally the whole fucking feed was full of my team's name.
I think the last two Call of Duty games I enjoyed. Now, one of them's controversial because I know a lot of people hated the game. And that one was Call of Duty World War II. I'm a little biased. I just enjoy. I remember being a kid and playing the old Call of Duties, the old World War II ones, when that's all you had. The other one that I truly enjoyed and thought it was a solid game was Call of Duty Cold War. After that went downhill.
What was the one where You was in space. I think it was a Modern Warfare.
Advanced Warfare, wasn't
Yeah, it's
it?
advanced warfare when you're in space. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Because for me, I love all the Black Ops. The Black Ops are just goodies. Like the Black Ops, they take their time on the Black Ops. Like the multiplayer be good. I like having the gunship, the Osprey. It's an adrenaline rush. Even when you're using your kill streak, right? You use a kill streak on fucking Modern Warfare 2 or 3. You get the kill streak, you just use it. It's an adrenaline rush on Black Ops. They be sit rep, enemy gunship coming in and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just fucking. It's an adrenaline rush playing that game, and the zombie stories be intricate as fuck, fun. You could be on there for hours. The wonder weapons are cool. You know, doing the Easter eggs is fun. These games just don't have that kind of blush for me.
Maybe you could agree with me, Cobra, but personally, I think until I see good reviews and I'll buy it after it comes out, I think this is the last Modern Warfare game I'll buy.
Yes, I agree with you. Remember,
Black Ops I'll stick to, but this, nah.
Yeah, I said in the beginning, if this one don't blow my socks off, like it was gonna have to take you guys to pull me in, you know, and I think we all got the same stance, so I don't know who the fuck gonna get us to buy they new.
And they made it where zombies was only 3 players instead of 4.
And when you get in there,
I forgot about
team
that.
of 10.
Yup.
Get in there, it's a team of 10.
That was
Yeah.
That was so
That's
asinine.
so stupid. Yeah.
So if you've been playing zombies, like say you had a channel dedicated to zombies, and you've been playing for like the last however many years with your same squad of 4, when this one came out, you had to lose a player. So fucking stupid. I heard somebody, the only reason I said that, I saw somebody online complaining about that. I was like, I had never thought about that. But could you imagine that? That was what happened with them. They had a crew that they ran zombies with. And they're like, now, which one of my members do I cut because you decided to make it where we can't lobby up together?
Like, who asked for that? Are you even listening to the people?
Yeah, that shit, the worst.
It's because they took DMZ, and what they realized was DMZ people were liked, and people hated DMZ at the beginning, but the DMZ started to grow. So what they did, because they like to fucking milk money like they did on Warzone, was they took the DMZ platform, took out a majority of the AI that used to be in there, and shoved a bunch of fucking zombies in it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna play at MW3 because I paid for it, and I do have fun with the homies on there. It's just even like zombies just felt cheap.
Hmm.
Like I think eventually, or I hope eventually, they put more the like enemy players back in DMZ or in zombies, where you can run where you have that, what's the word, that ambiguity when you run into other players. Like, are we gonna work together? Are y'all gonna try to kill me? Like, what are we doing here? I think that alone will make zombies way more fun. Just having that fear factor in there, and then changing the stories where they're not so stupid to complete. You got to really want it to finish those stories. I don't want it.
How do you feel about the fact that there's no enemies in the DMZ zombie? Like, it's a comfort there for me.
What do you mean by enemies?
Like, there's no opposing teams. Every other.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think eventually they'll put that in, or I hope eventually they put that in. Because I think part of what makes the zombies, I mean, zombies are still fun, but I think it feels kind of flat after you run a couple, because the recipe is pretty much go in there and then grind the missions. Just keep doing the same missions over and over so you can get the schematics and all of that stuff.
I think. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Curtis. Continue. Sorry to cut you off.
No. It's either that or you rush to do a couple of missions so you can pack a punch so you can go into the second level. So you can pack a punch so you can go into the third level to do the couple of missions that are unique to that area. But it's pretty much the same thing either way. But I think if there were actual enemy combatants in there, there's a high threat everywhere in addition to killing the zombie.
It must be nice to be able to put out a subpar product and be like, hey, we'll fix it as they give us the fucking money, you know?
Yeah.
And they've been
I
kind of doing
mean,
that for the last few years, though.
that's right.
Yeah.
You remember, because I remember when MW2 dropped, I'm pretty sure it was me, Cobra, and Dank that were playing together.
Mhm.
And remember how buggy it was until like 2 seasons in when they finally started to patch it?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I remember I was getting kicked out of the whole fucking game just for going to the buy station. Like I was gun shy after a while about going to the buy station buying plates because it would kick me out the game and I would lose all of my shit. And it like some days I just quit. Like, man, I'm not playing no more today because I'm getting too angry, you know?
I remember there was a game mode called Infected in the last game. And basically it's like hide and seek, but people are infected. And there is parts in the game that like there'd be a crate and you could if you like just proned into the crate, you could go inside the crate. Well, unless you know that glitch, you'll never find the last guy.
Oh,
So
because he's
because
always just hiding in the crate.
yep, so instead of giving a solid fair game, they have a bunch of bugs where you can just bug into certain things, or like me, if you got on top of your deployable shield and kept putting deployable shields down, you could climb in the air on your deployable shield way high in the air. So at that point, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, you know it's there, unless you don't pay attention to your product.
I'm just like the amount of effort to win at a video game. You just like who figures this shit out? Like deployable shield, deployable shield. Why
Maybe
though? Why fire? Why?
because I wanted to climb on top of buildings that I couldn't get onto normally. And once I get up there, I just lay up there and shoot people, or just lay up there until the game's over, and I win.
I hate to say this, Mr.Fife. Well, to all of you guys. But I talked to some of the other guys about Call of Duty, and we was trying to figure out like where the game went wrong at, the franchise, where it went wrong. And it basically started going wrong when they let the PC players in.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
That was a horrible fucking idea.
A
I'd
controller can't
say
compete. Controller can't compete with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
I'd say it went wrong when they started allowing. Okay, so we gotta look at this. PC's always been a thing. Games like CS:GO have always been big on the PC. So another game kind of like Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty on the PC is fine. What I don't think is fine is when they knew there were companies out there that advertise, "Hey, give me this money in your account info, and I'll get the maximum camos for your guns. Hey, give me this money, and we'll give you the scripts to put in the game per month. You keep paying this fee, and you'll keep having these hacks so that you can cheat at the game." The problem is they can't tell me that Activision and whoever else is running Call of Duty don't know about these scripts and all this cheating going on. The thing is, they could stop it legally. They could stop it by going after people making the cheats. Instead, what their shitty excuse is kind of like, think of it like a police force, right? I rob Vino, and the cop says, "Well, damn cheaters, damn hoodlums, right?" Well, instead of just giving me an excuse and saying, "Oh, well, we have an anti-cheat program that's supposed to detect it," fucking take out these companies instead of having to rely on an anti-cheat program that doesn't work.
Well, the problem is they're probably either behind the companies that are making the cheats or in the bed with them. So they're not going to stop it. They'll just update it every couple of months so that they can, to guarantee that the other company continues to make money every month, they'll wipe out the old cheat so you have to buy a new cheat. But they're definitely in the bed with them. So they're going to keep getting the money.
I was always told that they were in the bed with them as well, but I have no proof, and I'm not going to go onto this podcast and spit false information.
I'm not saying they are for sure. I'm saying if it were me, that's why the only thing that would stop me from doing it, like if I had a platform and people were hacking it, and I could clearly see the websites where the hacks are, the only thing stopping me from going after that website is that I'm in bed with them. So I'm assuming they're doing the thing.
What do you think the benefits
me.
is? What do you guys think the benefits of being in bed with them is?
Money. Free money.
Money, it keeps people going back to the game and playing the game. And by that, I mean people who are going to cheat, which there's a large majority of people both on console and PC anymore. Majority PC, I will admit that, are going to keep playing the game. And the minute that you take away them winning games, I feel like there will not that they'll protest the game, but I feel like they'll get a Call of Duty that will get a negative market because these people are going to kind of try to ostracize them, kind of out them to the public, and I don't think they want to deal with it.
So cheating is so okay. This is what I'm getting from what you're saying. Cheating is basically like the steroids or cosmetic surgery of the gaming world, because
Right.
you watch somebody who you know, their body looks good to you, whether it's male or female, and you thinking like, hey, I want to be in shape like that. So you go to the gym and spend, you know, all this time and hours and money on protein shakes and supplements and water and diet. And the truth is you'll never look like them, because they did a surgery and they're taking, you know, steroids to get the body that they want, but they're making you feel like you're not good. You're not getting these results because you're not good.
Mm.
You know what I
Correct.
mean?
You're not getting results because you can't physically get
right.
them.
You know, think of it like the government, right? Big time players like Nadia, cough cough, will get away with cheating until people make enough fuss, but usually will still just get away with cheating because they're not cheating in the tournaments. So they get away with cheating mainly because they have a big enough name. And they're like the rich people. They'll get away with whatever crime they want until some enough people make a hoopla about it because they're the big fish. They only really care about people like all four of us right now and the majority of the people playing the game. So if the small fish start cheating and they notice the small fish start cheating, that's when they care and they fucking just take us out, just like the government does with certain things, because if they set an example out of the lower players who don't have a following behind them and don't have 1 million subscribers, then they can't be outed for saying, oh, we're allowing cheating because we took care of these people cheating. We're doing something about it.
Right. But
They make an example where it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. Listen, I don't know if you guys seen this video, but I want to check this out while we on the pod.
Man, I think it's the most I've ever spoken a pod. Holy crap.
We can go on and on about fucking Activision, and we shall.
I would say, what hasn't been said about Activision?
But this is the reasons why they're hated right here.
I made this video called Electronic Arts Why They're Hated, and one of the comments under that video stood out to me. It said, frankly, Activision Blizzard is just as bad, if not worse. They fly under the radar more than EA manages to, and there were many others expressing similar feelings. I think you would agree that EA and Activision are comparable companies. They've had similar evolutions, and today are viewed in a very similar way by the gaming community. It's hard to know which is truly hated more than the other, but EA is the go-to one to complain and make jokes about. To me anyway, it seems like they function as sort of a lightning rod, attracting some of that negative attention away.
Comment back for $9.99. That was hilarious.
What was that?
That tweet that they had up there, it was like, I want to tell you why EA hate it, but you got about a comment back for $9.99. That is hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit.
Pay to play.
Others.
Everything is pay to pay with the motherfuckers.
But I have witnessed some pretty strong hatred toward Activision, and I think it makes sense to take a look and try to explain some of the reasons behind it. If you're not familiar, Activision is one of the biggest makers of video games. They've been behind some of the most successful franchises that the industry has ever seen. I am talking about Guitar Hero, Destiny, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and, well, of course, Call of Duty. In 2008, they made a deal that made them the owners of another popular video game publisher called Blizzard, which gave them control of all these other major titles, including including World of Warcraft. That deal helped Activision leap ahead of Electronic Arts in terms of sales, and still today, by almost any measure, Activision remains the bigger of the two. Many people have disapproved of the merger and argue that they've been changing Blizzard for the worst, which I guess right there could be a potential reason to dislike them. However, to keep things simple, I'm going to mostly ignore the Blizzard end of things from this point and keep things focused on the Activision brand. I have identified 5 main reasons behind the hatred, and I should say that the first one is easily the biggest, to a point where the following 4 reasons could be considered extensions of it, and that is their CEO, Bobby Kotick. It is a complicated issue because on one hand, he is responsible for most of the things that people don't like about Activision, but on the other hand, he is easily the biggest reason behind the company's success. In fact, I think it's a safe assumption to say that Activision would not exist today without him. I say that because in the early 1990s, when the company was deep in debt, losing money, and in desperate need of direction, he was the one who came in and he saved it. He led a team that paid $440,000 to gain 30% ownership, enough control to place himself in the position of CEO. Once he was in charge, he made a bunch of changes that over the past 3 decades have raised the value of the company to tens of billions of dollars. So before we get too deep into all of the hatred, I think it's important to understand what was happening with Activision in the days before Bobby Kotick and how he was able to save them. The company goes back to 1979, at the time the video game industry was dominated by Atari. David Crane worked for Atari as a video game developer and I guess overall was feeling disrespected by the company. See, at that time, each game was generally created by a single person, and I think he was reasonable in requesting that the designers be credited on their games and even receive some kind of royalty payment based on how well their game sells. But the management at Atari honor those requests, so David Crane and many of the other designers were upset about it. It all escalated when Atari sent out this memo that listed the sales figures for each game that they sold over the past year. The intention of it was to let everyone see what the market responded better to so they'd be able to adjust their designs accordingly, but it completely backfired. In the words of David Crane, when I saw a memo that the games for which I was 100% responsible had generated over $20 million in revenues, I was one of the people wondering why I was working in complete anonymity for a $20,000 salary, not...
Oh shit! I feel like this would a bullshit begin.
Damn.
he,
And they was complaining not to put
Man, I
your
got
name on it.
$20,000.
yeah.
That's brutal. You can't even say I made this.
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
How much did games cost back then, though?
Oh, they were cheap,
20
especially
bucks.
Atari games.
They were like $20 back then, right?
Probably less than that.
Uh,
Like the big Atari games were probably $20, but like I remember I got like maybe like 50 Atari games for like $20. Granted, they were like the worst of the worst when it comes to like
The
Atari
used old box of Atari games.
Yeah, it
I
was
had
like
one of those.
ping pong and fucking
Tanks.
yeah, tanks and some shit. Yeah, I remember I had a basketball game and it was literally like 2 blocks like hitting up. Yeah, and I was like, this doesn't look like no damn basketball game I ever heard of. It's like, what the hell is this?
Sugar Cube, bitch.
3 other key designers named Alan Miller, Larry Kaplan, and Bob Whitehead left Atari to start their own video game development company, and I like this. They called it Activision so they would appear before Atari alphabetically. In 1980, first games like...
Yeah.
I knew that, by the way.
I didn't. That's hilarious.
That's some big dick energy.
Yeah.
By 1982, they had released some of their best sellers like River Raid.
Oh, I had that.
Actually,
Pitfall, River Raid was my shit. Yeah, I liked River
I
Raid.
had Freeway.
You had what? Freeway? You had Freeway?
Hell yeah.
I don't remember Laser Blast.
I
but all
should
the
say-
rest of them.
I should say my sister, who's about your guys' age, had Freeway and like Grand Prix and Pitfall. And I used to play those when I went over to her house all the time.
We're going to change your name to Retro Fife.
Yeah.
games.
Pitfall, designed by David Crane for Activision.
And all of these games, by the way, were
Yeah,
made.
River Raid was shit.
Look, hey, let's go back to that. Look how the commercial is now that he away from Atari. He like, it's motherfucking made by me and my company.
See, it was available at Walgreens. That's how cheap you can buy
I,
Atari.
I used to buy Game Boy games at Walgreens off their big glass walls they used to have.
Damn. Yeah, that one. I don't think that was happening at Walgreens in Chicago. We'd have robbed their ass. Get on the motherfucking ground.
Yeah, it was like a big 10-foot glass sliding doors, and they had like the Game Boy Advanced. You could buy like the little pack where you get the game and or the console and everything. And then I had all the Pokemon boxes out there, and then someone would have to come unlock the
Yeah,
door
that would have
and
that
pull
would
it
have
off
been
for
a
you.
death wish.
Somebody came in there with a rock. Took all it.
Back then, when
And then
that
try to
shit
sell
was,
it back to him like the
let me,
next day.
let me give you an example, Mr. Fife. When that shit was popular when we was younger, motherfuckers was snatching whole chip racks out the fucking store.
Yeah.
Chip racks.
Designers were always given credit for their games.
Pitfall, designed by David Crane for Activision.
And all of these games, by the way, were made for the Atari 2600. They were the first company, other than Atari, to make games for that system, which made them the first ever third-party developer. Today, most video games are not made by the company that makes the console, and Activision, all the way back in 1980, was the first company to break that tradition. It was a strong start for them, but things took a major turn in 1983 when the entire video game market came crashing down. You could even make the argument that Activision was somewhat responsible for it. Their success as a third-party developer made a bunch of other companies want to enter that market by doing the same thing.
Hell yeah, skiing.
Based on quality, most of them chose to take the easier route by competing with them on price. Before you knew it, the market was flooded with all of these low-quality, brushed-out titles that made the public shy away from video games in general. From there, Activision was
The fuck was that?
That's like that basketball
I
game
was
I was
about to say,
talking
I was
about.
saying
I was
that-
like, what kind of basketball game is this?
I was looking at that, and all I could see was a purple pregnant Dobby the elf.
Look, this guy right here, he even upset about it. Look, he's got his fucking head down.
That's me on the first day of playing the new Call of Duty.
I honestly don't know what that game is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
competing with them on
It's
price.
Dobby the elf.
Market was flooded with all of these low-quality, brushed-out titles that made the
So
public
what's
shy
after
away
that?
from video games in general.
Dobby. It does look kind of like Dobby.
I don't know what the game is.
It's
Look, I don't know
pregnant
what-
Dobby. You can see it right there. It's pregnant
What is the
Dobby.
goal though? Like I don't know what he's doing. I
To
see
do the
score going
salsa
on.
under a shower of laser beams from the spaceship.
No, he probably was like playing darts or something. I don't know.
Those could be lamp poles.
And then-
That could be anything. That could
And
be-
look at, is that the company and name at the bottom? They need to put a CH at the end of that. Bitch Corp.
No, it was the first was that
First Dark Souls game?
R-rated 18 R-rated games from Atari. It was actually like the dance on stripper pose.
The fuck?
It did look like it could have had some
It
boobs.
did. Yeah.
Computer games because that was the stronger market at the time. The computer games seemed like a logical step, but from what I can tell, they never had much success with it. It led them to buy this
Hold
company
on.
called
What did that say?
Infocom.
That said something about a
That was
hacker.
all four of the founders left, and they
You found
Oh,
your
it was a
way
video
in.
game. That was probably the name of the game, like a PC game.
Yeah, I feel like that was a fucking hidden gem, an Easter egg for Activision going forward with business.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're gonna touch on this, but it just reminded me they used to make like copycat games of other games. So like I remember I had
Bootleg.
like Berserk, which was one of my favorite Atari games, and then there was another game that looked almost exactly like Berserk, but it was called something else and was made by a different company.
I used to have a bunch of bootleg Super Nintendo games.
Really?
Yeah, my sister, because my dad didn't know how to use it. That's back in the day. He didn't have. I mean, he had a debit card, but he's like, I can't use my stuff on the internet. So I'd go to her house upstairs to the home computer, and she lived in this apartment. And I'd give her money, and I'd get like my Ninja Turtle toys off of eBay or Power Ranger toys, but I'd also get video games off of eBay. So I'd buy a bunch of like bootleg games because they were cheap as hell on eBay back in the day. And for you young kids watching, this is back when I remember. This is back far enough when I remember YouTube didn't have a like or dislike button. It was rated on stars.
Damn. Yeah, that was a minute ago.
And all you had was dancing cat, piano cat videos, Fred, the annoying orange.
And Seaman.
You know what?
The longer had to watch.
Seaman made me into the man I am today.
Never had much success with it. It led them to buy this company called Infocom that was known for their very early text-based computer games. The following year, they changed their name from Activision to Mediagenic when they started making software for business purposes. When Bobby Kotick took over, I'm guessing he was more interested in that Activision name than anything else because it still carried a reputation of quality. Right away, he changed the name of the company back to Activision, he refocused on games, and moved their headquarters away from their competitors in Silicon Valley down to Los Angeles. He embraced that reputation by releasing some high-quality, well-received games. By the later part of the 1990s, they
Hell yeah.
make deals with Disney and other studios to make games using their characters. They started acquiring competing developers, and by the 2000s, they were once again among the top of their industry. So back to my list. Bobby Kotick, since he first took over, he adapted this overall profit-focused approach to running things. This right here is the core of the issue, right? Many of these video game companies give off the impression that their primary goal is to make money, to squeeze as much from it from their players in any way that they can. It's a tricky situation because in so many of these cases, it seems like what's good for the company is bad for the players. And I don't know if anyone represents that concept better than Bobby Kotick. He is like a hero to investors, but a villain to the customers. For example, when he made this joke about how the company's goal was to take all the fun out of making video games. Obviously, that's a statement that doesn't go over well with the players and the public in general, but he made that statement to the investors where it did go over well. So for the rest of my list, I'm going to be
Jesus Christ, what do you guys think about that?
Is that what they're using when they're making Call of Duty now? What the fuck?
Either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Although that's a false statement because I'll tell you what, for little Johnny, Guitar Hero is, man, I used to spend hours, days on that damn game.
I was more in the rock band, but I did play a little Guitar Hero too.
I have is lack of originality because Activision sticks so closely to this model of investing all of their resources into proven, profitable franchises as opposed to taking some chances by producing some new, original stuff. I mean, you can see it. How many Call of Duties or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Guitar Hero games have they released that are typically not all that different from the ones that came before it? Going back again, a big part of Bobby Kotick's initial comeback was releasing titles based on previous successes like Zork or Pitfall. In that deal in 2008, when they took control of Blizzard, they received the rights to all of these video games. And when referring to the ones that Activision didn't want to continue, Bobby Kotick said, with respect to the franchises that don't have the potential to be exploited every year on every platform with clear sequel potential that can meet our objectives of over time becoming $100 million plus franchises, that's a strategy that has worked well for us. See, it's things like this that make me think he is embracing his role as a villain. I understand that is the perfect strategy.
Yep, Sabia said it.
Bobby Kotick, you can suck my left nut, you fucking dick.
Yeah.
I should slap you and your mama for saying that.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
I'm sure there was a much gentler way to say it that doesn't include the word exploit. Either way, there are many gamers out there, probably many of the people watching this, that would rather see something new and original come from Activision rather than the 17th Call of Duty game.
Hey, now,
Is
that's a good game.
ignoring franchises. Their strategy of exploiting franchises doesn't just prevent originality, it also prevents them from pursuing beloved franchises that maybe don't have $100 million potential. Spyro is a good example of this. They acquired the rights to the franchise in that 2008 deal and have done very little with it. The Reignited trilogy in 2018 would be the biggest thing. It remasters the first 3 games. There was Skylanders as well, but the fans want more. It is the same thing with Crash Bandicoot. Those original games made by...
I know they made money on Skylanders.
I wanted a PlayStation in the 1990s. Obviously,
Never played it.
I hated that fucking game because I worked at GameStop at the time.
It took them
Kept coming in looking for the stupid
don't
thing.
do anything with it. They canceled development of this game called Crash Landed that the fans were really looking forward to, and it wasn't until 2017 when they released again this remaster compilation, and then Crash Bandicoot Fort, It's About Time in 2020. I'm just saying, if you're a fan of these iconic PlayStation characters or something else that they own the rights to and refuse to utilize, I imagine that you're pretty upset with Activision for not doing much with them. My next reason is
You know what though?
lawsuit.
I can't be mad at that now that I think about it, because Rockstar even came out and said, as long as people keep buying Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, they're gonna always keep making Red Dead games and Grand Theft Auto games.
Yeah, but they're good.
And that was recently.
They're good though.
Well, correct. I mean, Activision they're not saying they're going to put out a bad game. They're just saying if those franchises make that kind of money, they're going to roll with them. Kind of like Bethesda, in my head as well. They're going to always, I feel like, make Fallout games, and they're always going to make Elder Scrolls games.
Anybody would, but like you get a Grand Theft Auto, every decade, damn near. You know what I'm saying? You get a fucking Call of Duty every 10 months.
Well,
especially the amount of profit that they're making off of the amount of effort going in. They're making so much money they could easily invest in new IPs. Or like the other guy, like I didn't care about Crash or Spyro, but they could invest in like beloved franchises or new IPs in addition to remaking the games that they know are going to make it. But they're so profit focused that they're only doing the repeats of the games because that's what's going to give them the money. It's guaranteed money too.
It is.
And people are going to keep like you could complain all you want about this Call of Duty. In 10 months, when the next Call of Duty come out, like we might be 4 people that don't buy it, but there'll be 100 million that do. Every year.
Even if 100 million buy it and don't like it, that's 100 million sales.
Right. What I'm saying is every year they're going to buy it either way.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep coming out with it.
No, I know.
Like,
I'm saying
I would do the same thing. Like if I had Shitty Game X, I would come out with Shitty Game X every year if I was guaranteed to make millions upon millions of dollars. People go buy it regardless.
Even 100 million buy it at the current price of Call of Duty, they still make $7 billion.
Yeah. Like,
a year.
Crazy amounts of money.
Dank just said something that I felt like was bullshit from Activision. So they said he told me something like they know how much money they made off games, but they don't have it documented how much money they make off of skins and I said that's bullshit. I said because how do you know? Like, let's say Travis Scott. How can it's a company. How can I justify giving him $10 million to be on Call of Duty if I don't understand what the return is? I'm like, I think that's bullshit. I think they won't let that information out because it's probably way more than what the actual game is. It
is for sure.
They probably make $7 billion off of the game and make $20 billion off of fucking skins and shit, operator skins.
That just reminded me of the whole Fortnite with the emotes and the dances. A lot of the celebrities and stuff, they was like, they created this dance. They should get some sort of, some form of, royalties from it. And Fortnite basically was like, nope, we'll take you to court and you get nothing. like you don't own the dance you created. You don't own the emote, even though it's an emote that originated in your city from like a handful of people.
Yeah, Millie rocking and shit like that. Well, they didn't copyright it. Shit, like I didn't copyright Train to Go, and everybody fucking in America say they Train to Go, and every time they say it stings a little bit.
So the last Call of Duty in its first quarter made $1.551 billion.
That's just...
They have an increase of 33.82 year over year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But if you want to talk about like scams and like digital purchases, that a lot of those free games make millions of dollars a year off just buying stuff in games.
Oh,
Like
I'm
Warframe only exists because of all the shit people buy. Like I know
I don't
people who spend hundreds of dollars on Warframe.
I don't even want to know how much Fortnite's made off of, you know.
Crazy amounts of money.
I know for a fact I probably spent like $1,500 on each one of my kids. And Dank, on Vanguard alone, he spent $2,500.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's not the only one. Like a lot of people like having the best skins.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm nowhere near spending. No, maybe out of all the games, all together.
I think I bought almost every skin last year's Call of Duty.
Damn.
Damn.
I spent like $30 on Path of Exile because the game was free. I wanted to support them make a new game. And I want to say I bought one frame and Warframe back when I was playing
the
that.
majority of I spend a lot of money on Black Ops when they come out with new DLCs. But the way I look at the DLCs be good, and the way I look at it is like I'm buying another game.
Count DLC because that's actual. I don't count DLCs because that's actual content. I meant like just cosmetic stuff.
Right. Okay.
Like skins and stuff like that.
Well, I just started getting into that when I started playing Modern Warfare. I was not into that.
Yeah, I wasn't really into the skins too much. Maybe there's maybe a couple games where I might have bought like 1 or 2 skins, but nowhere near that like that.
Happened in 2010. Now, this is a crazy story. See, Infinity Ward is part of Activision. They are the video game developer that makes the Call of Duty games. In 2002, 2 of the founding members of it were Vince Zampella and Jason West. Well, in 2009, Activision was pushing to have their next Call of Duty game called Modern Warfare 2 to be released in time for the holiday season. Allegedly, Bobby Kotick and Activision promised a percentage of the video game sales to Vince and Jason and the entire Infinity Ward team if they had the game done in time. And they did finish it in time. It came out in November and was actually one of the most successful releases of all time, with sales of hundreds of millions of dollars almost right away. That meant that Vince and Jason and the rest of the team were set to receive $54 million from those sales. A couple months later,
and to think that was like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, almost 20 now.
Was paid to Jason and Vince, they were fired from Activision, which according to their deal meant that they were no longer entitled to the money. Those two claimed that they were fired out of nowhere, which led to a wrongful termination lawsuit. Activision claimed that the firing was justified because they were acting inappropriate, and the word that was used was misconduct. Then Activision filed a countersuit claiming that they wanted to get fired because they were working with their competitor EA to establish a new company.
Holy shit. You know how much of an asshole bully you have to be? You fired me so I wouldn't get the benefits. Then you turn around and countersuit me?
Shouldn't have tried to sue. Don't fight back. You want to fight back? Fight back?
That's fucked.
Man.
That's fucked up. We gotta hear that again, bro. They fired them just so they wouldn't get the money, assholes.
Were set to receive $54 million from those sales. A couple months later, everything went south. Before any money was paid to Jason and Vince, they were fired from Activision, which according to their deal meant that they were no longer entitled to the money. Those two claimed that they were fired out of nowhere, which led to a wrongful termination lawsuit. Activision claimed that the firing was justified because they were acting inappropriate, and the word that was used was misconduct. Then Activision filed a countersuit claiming that they wanted to get fired because they were working with their competitor EA to establish a new company separate from Activision. I don't know if that claim was accurate or not, but they did in fact work with EA to start a new company called Respawn within a few months of the firing that went on to create the popular game called Titanfall. I feel I should point out that this situation has some major parallels to what happened between Atari and Activision Activision 30 years earlier. You know, it's just Activision on the other side of it now. And then the Infinity Ward employees came in with their own lawsuit against Activision as well. So the entire thing was a mess. In the end, Activision settled these lawsuits for undisclosed payments, each thought to be in the tens of millions of dollars. No one outside of it truly knows what happened there. It comes down to who you want to believe, but the entire situation did not do much to help the public's perception of Activision. My last reason, you know, it had to be coming: microtransactions. I'm sure anyone who has spent much time playing something made by Activision has encountered these. They are certainly not the only company that does it, but they are one of the bigger
In
offenders.
one quarter,
This
1.2
category of things
billion.
that make money, are good for the investors, but not appreciated by the players. So there you have it. 5 reasons united by a common theme as to why Activision is so hated. Let me know in the comments. How do you feel about Activision? Are they just kind of following the trend of the industry, or are they taking things a little bit?
What do you guys think, man?
I think they made a big leap when they said Titanfall was popular.
Titanfall what?
Was